Hey!
Welcome back to Sweet Subversives. We had a week off, but we're back with a vengeance and rested.
Some type of vengeance or something. I don't know. Well, we're back. We're back.
I'm all ready for vengeance. Like, I think, is that like
okay?
Heather and Kara vengeance? LP
Well,
sweet time.
What was that in we will avenge you?
We'll avenge you. Or all that came to my mind was I am Inigo Montoya. You kill my father, prepare to die.
Oh, see, and I was thinking of the Star Trek takeoff. What was it? Never surrender. Never give in.
Galaxy Quest.
Yes, I was thinking of Galaxy Quest. By something, I will avenge you.
Right? Grab Thar's hammer.
Yes.
It was Alan Rickman, right?
Yes.
I love that. Here, I'm going to switch this to... Oh, we still have Star Wars background. Is that okay?
Please, thank you. Yeah, people don't need to be that close and personal to me.
I was thinking, like, what looks weird? They're like, oh, yeah, we're super close. We're so close, Kara. Yet
I'm so close to you.
No one needs that. They don't need to see the inside of my brain through my nose.
No, and, like, I don't think my pore situation is the best at the moment, so...
I had lots of sunshine today, but I kind of looked like death for a while, so I actually went and put makeup on before the show. So I look like a supermodel, but I'm not.
Yes, you do with your sex hair.
With my sex hair, I know the hair is actually really good today. I'm trying new product, so we'll see how that goes.
I can't make that claim.
Well, you have like vacation hair, so we'll talk about that later. You look well rested and happy, so that is a good thing.
It was awesome.
Oh, I'm so glad. I can't wait to hear about it all, but yeah, I'm also jealous, like with a J. I don't know how to do a J. Jealous.
So tonight we also have a guest.
Yes, we do tonight.
We do.
Is it a secret guest or not so secret?
No, I don't think it's not a secret guest because we posted about it. So
that's right.
Not a secret.
I actually wrote that post, so I'm like, yeah.
Right. Yeah. No. So we are going to have Jason Mankey, and he is like very well-known author in pagan circles, practicing Wiccan or Witcher, however, we'll ask him what his preferred nomenclature is. And we're going to be talking about how the Wiccan Rede and the non-aggression principle, how they're similar and yet different, because this is something Heather and I have talked about before.
Yeah.
But we'll have a wider discussion of that. So we have that coming up. We have a little bit of libertarian news. We are going to have a little bit about my travels into the dangerous, plague-ridden wilds of South Dakota. I'm lucky I made it out alive.
I know.
Right? Yeah. So I mean, we kind of have a lot of steps to try to fit in tonight. So
what are you drinking tonight?
So since it is springtime and the lilacs are in bloom, I am having a lilac martini.
I love lilac. Oh, I bet it smells amazing.
It does smell amazing.
I wish I had scratch and sniff, like you go scratch.
Yeah, no, it is really good. It is really good, and I picked a bunch of lilacs, and so my house smells amazing. And you and I are gonna make lilac wine this weekend.
Yes, we will. That'll be awesome. Lilac is my favorite smell, my favorite flower smell. So I have like some perfume that I have it on, but I can never get enough. And it's so fleeting this time of year. You only get it for a couple weeks and you smell it everywhere. It's beautiful here in Minnesota, and then it goes away.
And that's done.
And then it's done. So I try to walk outside every day now because it's so beautiful. And I steal them like without any scruples or anything. I like if they're next to the road, I'm like,
Yep.
Because I don't have I have a weird Korean lilac bush, and it blooms at almost the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So I did it on purpose because then I can get it longer. But the early ones, it's
so
like
is
now.
is it the yellow Miss Kim?
Yes, it's a pink Miss Kim, I think.
Oh, it's a pink Miss Kim.
Yes, it looks
Very
like
nice.
almost like a regular lilac. It's kind of purpley pink. It's beautiful. But we moved it. So last year it got moved a little bit. So it's green right now, so I'm guessing it didn't die.
That looks like it survived the move.
I think it survived the move. If it didn't, I will cry, but that's how it goes. But yes, and I'm having a Coors Light because I worked hard like a working woman all day, and I wanted like a light beer. I know we talk about all these things, and I'm like, forget it. I just want a cold beverage.
So if I worked hard all day,
yeah,
and I was like, I need a drink, that would not be what I picked.
No, well, you also like made your own drink. Like you made the syrup. You were like industrious. I'm like, what's the laziest ass thing I can do?
Hey, lazy is not bad. I've been, mostly.
Also, I've drank almost all my good beer. I need to go to the liquor store. Oh no. Which I think I might be doing pretty soon anyway, because, part of my therapy for COVID-19 is drinking at home, like throughout this whole thing.
Okay.
I'm not like an alcoholic yet, but I'm working on it. So we'll see if I get there. We all have goals.
Yeah, we all gotta have something to strive for, and
gotta have a dream.
Yeah.
Actually, I just need to go to the store. I'm like, oh. But anyway, like the state's going to be opening up like in a couple weeks, a little bit more. Yeah, I know it seemed like iffy. So Minnesota has been like a stay-at-home order for forever and ever. It seems like forever and ever, and they finally announced June 1st that we'll sort of open it up, whatever that means. And they're going to make all these rules for people to jump through, which is a hassle and stupid. And
right. They're saying that restaurants can open, but they can't. They can only have outdoor seating, and you can only be seated at like a table of 4 or less. And of course, the tables have to be 6 feet apart, and they can only have a max. No matter how big the parking lot is, it doesn't matter. They can only have a max of 50 people dining, and you have to have advanced reservations. You can't just go.
Well, that's not a restaurant.
So I'm not sure how open that is.
I'm still waiting for all the libertarians that used to run restaurants to open up like restaurant clubs, so we could all go and have beautiful food and like be.
So it'd be like a speakeasy, but for food.
I want it.
They're already operating.
I know, but nobody invites me. Invite me.
Well, you don't live in the Twin Cities.
I know. I live in like out state, and there's nothing here. I'm sure there is, but no one invites me.
Well, I have invited you, so you will be at my house this weekend, so that we can do the Libertarian Convention.
Yes, that's this weekend, by the way.
That is this weekend. Well, part one of the convention.
Yeah, so. the more painful part, I think, because it's all online.
Yeah, we'll see. So I think, how it's set up is that we will be doing a president and vice president pick, so our nominees. And we're actually getting a lot of press about it because we're the first party to do that, to pick our presidential nominee online. Oh, so we're making history.
Historical, because we got our stuff together. It's been a lot of work, and my props go out to all of the libertarian people who have been on the convention planning and getting everything ready for this, because it's a lot of work. It is.
And I just saw, so Friday night, I believe it's Friday night, they will have the presidential candidates debate.
Right.
And if I remember what I just saw on Facebook that was announced, John
No.
Stossel would be the MC.
John Stoffel? Serious?
I'm pretty excited about that.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
I mean, like, I think you'll see a lot of this on social media. So I'm gonna
I will look, but I believe I saw Sam Goldstein just announce it. Yeah, so John Stossel is going to be moderating the final Libertarian presidential debate. Oh, actually, it will be tomorrow night.
It's Thursday. I was gonna say
Thursday night at 7 p.m.
So that's what I'm probably gonna be doing Thursday night at 7 p.m.
Is watching that.
Because my show gets done right around 6, so then I can like get some dinner in me and watch and do that and decide.
So have you picked a pony?
I have 2 ponies that are kind of neck and neck. And one of my
plugging in.
there's a lot of shenanigans. Oh, I'm staring at your shirt.
Yes, my cute shirt that I got in South Dakota.
Cute.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I had to plug in. Sorry about that.
Too much feedback? No,
I had unplugged from the power, and I just looked and I was like, I only have 15% power.
Oh no!
I have to plug in.
You might have to plug in. Yeah, nothing worse than losing power.
Yeah, but so do you have your favorite pony yet for president?
Well, it's funny that you keep saying ponies because, like, one of the candidates offers free ponies.
Ponynomics.
And so that's an intriguing one. And there's 2 that I think I'm excited about. But my problem isn't so much. I mean, I could see like the pros and cons for a lot of the candidates. We have great candidates, honestly.
We do, yeah.
It's a hard choice. There's some that I like way more than others, though. But the vice president, I think, will be a really exciting contest there to see who's going to be chosen for that. Because, I'm excited about it. I'm just more worried about shenanigans on a lot of things. But shenanigans everywhere. Honestly, there's so many. I think. Like, I think we all need to hug it out. After all of this is done, we gotta hug it out. I'm gonna go around. I mean, it's probably inappropriate during a pandemic, but I want to hug everyone and just go, it's gonna be okay. We get through this. We all really do like each other because we sort of agree, even though we pretend like you're the super libertarian, you're the super libertarian, you're not libertarian.
So many. Yes.
Oh, there's me.
Yes, sorry. Yes, I know I didn't have anything.
I do that to myself because I like to. Our StreamYard doesn't show like the names of people sometimes, so I like to go to the other one. And when I do that, it opens it up. So I'm probably going to do the same thing as you, just because I don't believe that it's showing me everything. Sometimes it doesn't have all the comments there. Okay, here I go. I'll do the same thing as you, and then we'll just rip the Band-Aid off. Okay. Rip it up. And then we were gonna we have a lot of good stuff to talk about. I'm sorry, I feel rambly today because I like to stop. StreamYard doesn't show like the names of people sometimes. There. I think I stopped it. It looks like I'm still talking, but I want that drink, Kara.
I want that drink too. It's been so I had a great vacation. And however, work intruded a little more than maybe it should have, because I don't know, maybe a candidate dropped out or something. But whatever. Not bitter. I am.
I'm a
little bitter, but So the past couple of days have been kind of hard and shitty.
I'm sorry.
Well, and then to wind it up. So I am very, 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 very allergic to bees. Very.
Oh, I was wondering if you're going to make it today.
And I got stung by a wasp today.
Yes.
And so I had to hit my EpiPen. So now I got to get a new EpiPen.
So what happens when you get with the EpiPen? Does it it's adrenaline, isn't it?
Yes.
So does that make you feel all wacko after you do that?
it helps me get through until the mega antihistamines that I take can take effect, because
Right.
my breathing starts to shut down about a minute within like minutes. So
Jesus.
yeah, I
Yeah.
almost died today, but
Yeah, when you wrote to me,
whatever,
I'm like,
whatever.
should you go to the hospital? And you're like, well,
Other
I'm
than
either
that
going to
almost
die or
dying
I'm
thing,
not.
you
I'm
know.
like, well, this
So
could be a really great day and Kara's okay, or it's going to be a sucky day, the
yeah,
day
I
that
mean,
Kara
I
died.
didn't die, so
That's your good news for the week right
yeah, I
there.
mean, yeah. Well, I mean, we're in a pandemic and everything, and then like that would have sucked to die from a piece
I
too.
know they'll be like, we looking back in history, like Kara Schultz, did she die of the COVID-19? It was that year.
No,
And they're like, no, she got stung by a wasp,
I did
y'all.
not. I did not get the Rona. I got a bee.
You got murder bee.
Yeah, well, and it wasn't even a murder hornet.
No, I know. Like you would have been like, wow, of all the things that you could have got killed by this year, you got killed by that like 0.9% of a chance out of everything.
Yeah, so that's been lovely. But
I'm
I
so
am
glad
looking
you're
forward
okay.
to the convention. I think it'll be interesting if nothing else. And you will be at my house. I'm hoping another friend of ours, Pat, will
Oh,
be
good.
over as well. And we'll see, if we have a few more people over. We're just gonna have to check, because we want to make sure that everyone can sign in and be properly credentialed, even though we're all on the same ISP, because we'll be signed into my Wi-Fi. But like I have like massively awesome Wi-Fi.
You do. I have
Like
crappy, so no
I'm
one
not worried
should.
about the signal. I just want everyone to be able to log in and be, have their
Well,
security fine, so that they are, they don't lose their vote.
I'll
That's my
bring my
concern.
laptop in case stuff goes wrong. But
Yeah,
honestly,
bring your laptop.
I
But
think we'll be okay.
I figure Saturday morning we can just start hitting mimosas and do that convention.
Well, like okay, was it 2 years ago? We went to New Orleans, and it was the first time I was a delegate, and there's some drinking that happened there.
Maybe.
Yes, and not just out and about New Orleans. There was drinking there when I was at the floor near the floor.
This is true. Yeah, there's one thing about libertarian conventions. They're not dry events.
No, they're not. Which I appreciate because sometimes it got to be like a dry event, but thank God for alcohol, right? Some things go on and on. People like to talk.
Exactly.
I have a
Okay.
feeling.
So we have the convention coming up. So we have the online portion, and then the second half of the convention is in Orlando. Yep.
Orlando.
And that is scheduled for July
7th or 8th? 8th? 8th sounds right.
Yeah, through the 12th, I believe. So
Yes.
yeah,
I'm actually really relieved that they're having. Okay, the 8th is a Wednesday. That sounds right.
yeah.
So the 8th through the 12th is a Sunday. That sounds right.
So we have an Airbnb. We got a
Yes.
pool.
Oh yeah.
We are set.
Yeah, I don't even know what there is to do in Orlando. So somebody send us suggestions because I'm like, I'm not going to Disney World and that's closed
We have a
anyway.
pool. We have a pool. Who cares?
Yeah, I'll float around. It's gonna be amazing.
As long as we have a pool, we're good.
I tell you, if I can just go somewhere, that seems amazing to me. So, yay!
Yes.
I feel like we're starting to come through it.
So, the vacation I took.
Yes. Can you tell us?
So I went to South Dakota, which, depending on who you talk to, it's either the promised land of all freedom, where
It is
everything's
normal.
open and you can like walk into a restaurant and snort cocaine off a hooker's butt.
Wait, which one?
Or it is like a crazy wild west of just plague danger, where the bodies are heaped up and you see the smoke rolling up from the piled bodies from all the death.
Why not both?
And it is not either way.
Dang it.
It's
Dang
not
it, Kara. I was hoping I was leaning towards the hookers and blow, but damn it.
I know.
Okay.
But so they did not have like a state imposed lockdown.
No,
They did not have that. Uh,
good for them.
they did have guidelines. You know, the state issued guidelines. Some cities did individual ordinances for a period of time. Most of them have lifted that kind of thing. Uh, but what I found was it wasn't super different from Minnesota in a lot of ways, but it was in others. So, you know, people were asking what's open, what's not. And, you know, some stores were open, some stores were not. Some restaurants were open, some restaurants were not. You know, it was left up to the businesses to decide if they felt comfortable and ready to be open.
Yeah.
Also, if they wanted to do the expense of being open, because you know you have expenses when you're open, or whether they were going to conserve that money. Also, the traffic. I mean, there weren't a lot of tourists there, although it was pretty early.
Yeah, it is a
Pretty
little.
early anyway for tourism there. So, you know, but what we found was when you had stores or diners that were super connected into their community, like that was a community gathering point, and you know the people were well liked and trusted and all that kind of stuff, they were busy. Like they were constantly busy, and it was all locals. Um, and that's something that's not allowed to happen in our state.
No.
So those businesses are going to make it. They'll make it because the community finds value in them, and so they're willing to patron them, and they'll have enough business to survive and make it through. But here in Minnesota, like that was not allowed, right?
No.
There wasn't even that option. You just had the big chains, the big box stores, and that was the only option. So, you know, like what we're seeing in my city is we've have had several of our like really key businesses where everyone went and you felt this huge community connection.
Yeah.
They're gone. They're closing for
Oh,
good.
it's so hard.
It it is so painful to see that. To
I
see
don't
that
want to.
they don't even have they don't have a chance. They don't have a chance. And you look at the numbers coming out of the hospitality industry, and they're saying that for restaurants that are not chain restaurants, non-chain restaurants, 4 out of 5 will be closed by the end of the year, permanently done. I
Oh
mean,
my
it's a
God.
bloodbath, you know. But like, I don't want to paint too rosy of a picture of South Dakota either, because you know the businesses are struggling. So just because they're open doesn't mean that they're going to have business.
No. A lot of people are still staying home.
They are, you know, people are choosing to do that, but at least it's a choice. Like at least that is a choice, right?
Right. I'd
Um,
rather have the choice.
yeah, instead of just the elimination of choice, or you know how we wish to interact with one another. Uh, you know, the other thing is there's not like the big mask wars going on in South Dakota. You wear one or you don't wear one. Um,
People aren't calling the cops on you if you're not wearing one.
yeah,
And
I mean, you know, people aren't getting in the face of people wearing a mask and making fun of them. And on the flip side, um, people aren't freaking out because you aren't wearing a mask. They
yeah.
have this kind of dance that they have going on, and because they haven't been shut down, it's natural how people are interacting. If people see someone wearing a mask, they're taking that as a sign of, you know, I want more space around me, I'm trying to be
Yeah.
more careful, please be respectful of that. And people are, you know, people give them a wider berth. They aren't staring at them, they aren't being jerks, they aren't doing any of those kinds of things. They're giving them a lot wider berth.
Yeah. I like
um,
that.
if people aren't wearing a mask, people have the feeling that you can come a little closer. People are still giving each other distance, but not as wide.
No.
So it's kind of a signal. Things are also, because they've been doing it for months now. Things are a little more natural now. Like we walked into a store to look at, what they had. And like many stores, right when you walk in, they have a hand sanitizing station. And then they have masks there as well.
Oh, yeah.
So you can, you sanitize and then you can choose to put on a mask or not. That's up to you. Um, and then, as you go through the store, uh, they have set things up already that they don't even need the arrows on the floor. It makes like a natural flow through the store of how they have set things up. And they've been able to do that because they've had customers interacting in their space, and they can see what is causing people to naturally do this versus that, and they're making adjustments.
I like that.
Yeah. And so even though there was cleaning and and they were constantly cleaning, and they were wearing masks, and they were doing all of the things that our businesses are being told to prepare, and also limiting numbers, they were doing it in a really natural way that the shopping experience felt normal. It didn't
Good.
feel different, even though it was very different.
Do you think we could learn from the states that haven't opened, from like
That haven't closed.
that have it are still closed? Do you think we
Yeah.
could learn from South Dakota?
Yeah, I do think so. I think their businesses, because they have been trying things out, what works, what doesn't work. Yeah, I think we could actually learn quite a bit from them. So
I want to see your vacation pictures, by the way.
okay.
Because I think you had some neat ones that you were going to share.
Yes. Well, yes.
Let's see. How do I do that?
I don't know. How do you do that?
Remember we had this conversation earlier? And I'm like, how to make it so Kara can share. Okay. Can you click on your button? Like, do you have anything that you can click on, Kara, that says share?
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if I have to go into here. If I edit it, I'm afraid that.
There.
Awesome. Now I can do it. Now I can see. I can add it to the stream. Here we go. Woo! And I'll make it big.
So the interesting thing about when you're going into South Dakota, and this is the Badlands, is South Dakota, when you go through the Badlands or you go through the Black Hills, it's like a really good burlesque fan dancer. Yeah, you're going around, and then you get a little view of something amazing, and then it closes off, and then you get a little view of something amazing, and then it closes off, and it does that over and over and over the entire time that you are there. And so you will walk around a corner like in the Black Hills, and all of a sudden you come upon this view that just takes your breath away, and you take a few steps and it's gone. So that's how all of South Dakota is. And if a person is looking for a vacation, so if you're looking for a vacation that you don't have to interact with people a lot, and you want to be, you want to be more cautious, South Dakota is actually a really good vacation for that, because so much of that can be done driving in your car, and you really don't have to interact with people. So I do suggest you go out there. And here's another one of those views that we were walking just on this little path, and then we turned the corner, and right there was this pink quartz jutting out of the ground. And it was glowing. I mean, gorgeous, glowing pink quartz. So that was another little glimpse with the fan dance, right?
Oh, man, I love it.
And then you'll come around, and then there's like things that look like a big penis.
That's a penis rock. That's a penis rock.
That is That is a penis rock. Yeah, that is. And so
Oh,
that was in the Black Hills, and that was in the Needles Highway. And again, it's, you can just take a drive and it's amazing.
oh,
The other thing is,
so
prairie dogs.
oh god.
You get to
Oh my
feed
god,
prairie
it's so
dogs,
cute.
and they will, like, you can hold the peanut out and they will take it from your
From
hands.
your hands?
Yes.
They're
I had probably 6 to 8 little prairie dogs around me. They would put their little paws on my leg. I mean, they were so cute.
oh,
Other people that were there were, they were feeding them and petting them.
you got to be careful though. They're like bubonic plague or something like that, or black plague. I don't remember.
They can have bubonic plague, absolutely. So these prairie dogs that are at this particular place, which is the ranch store, right when you hit the Badlands Loop before you get to Interior, they are working with the university, and so they do health monitoring and all that kind of stuff. And there's a little bit of vet care going on with them. So
Oh, good.
these are probably less plaguey, but they do have long claws.
They do. Like when you
They
showed that picture,
are
it was like
They are
talons.
wild animals. They can bite. I did not pet them.
Oh,
When they got too close, I do like to feed them, but when they got too close and they would put their paws on my leg, then I would throw the peanuts a little further out to back them off, because they are wild animals and you still need to respect that. So,
yeah. You don't need to be like getting clawed up because you
or
went too
bit.
far or bit. Yeah, and then going to the doctor on your vacation. So not so fun.
No,
No.
but no. So that was pretty neat. So, we stayed in hotels along the way. If you want deals on hotels, holy cow, book online.
Oh yeah.
Just do a general search. Uh, like one hotel that usually goes for about $100 a night, we got it for $30 a night. Many of the hotel rooms we paid $60 a night for.
Holy
Again, because
moly.
it's really early in the season. Plus, they don't have a lot of people going out there. But things that we saw when we checked into hotels was, yes, most of them have the sneeze guard, which is becoming standard of any point of sale operation that you're going to be at.
Yeah.
So they had that sneeze guard in place. Most everything was touchless. They want you to, book online, pay online, check
Oh
out
yeah.
online, all that kind of stuff.
Don't pay with
Um,
money.
Most of the hotel services in the hotels were closed down. Like
Oh
the
yeah.
pools weren't open, breakfast wasn't open, or they would just have like a bagged grab and go. So they had that kind of set up in the hotel. The other thing that they were doing is they were waiting 2 days. They would just, when you checked out, they just leave the room for 2 days before housekeeping goes in and cleans it. So they're waiting
Mm.
that period of time. And that seemed to become standard, but I don't know how they're going to be able to manage that and stay afloat.
No, I don't understand it.
We'll see. When you got to Deadwood and they had the casinos had way more things open. They had their hotel restaurant open. They even had turn down service.
Woo.
They were operating like not much had changed. Yes, people had masks on. Yes, you saw a lot of cleaning and sanitizing and that kind of stuff. But as far as services, everything was open. Everything was open. The
Wow.
casino was open. The card games, though, were not open. It was slots.
Things that you had to touch
And the
and like
slots were
paper.
really effing tight. So,
Yeah. So don't bother. I mean, unless you're super into gambling, don't bother.
yeah, I mean, if you just take that $100 and light it on fire, you'll get more enjoyment.
Yeah. Or, go there. I mean, I'm sure they have other stuff like shows and things that they're thinking about having. And I mean,
Yes.
do
Yes.
that.
And then the other thing that I went there for was to hit a particular shrine that is in Hot Springs. They have a
Oh,
neoclassical temple,
I
and
love
it
it.
has a statue of Hygeia on top, and then it's the natural spring water, and you can bottle it right there. And I brought some, and I got some for you, Heather.
Yay!
And so Hot Springs has a VA center in it, and it still has operating VA center, because that's where during the Civil War they sent soldiers, and in World War I and World War II, to convalesce, especially if they either had a wound that wouldn't heal or they had what we now call PTSD. And so they would take the waters, they would drink the waters, they would bathe in the waters, that kind of stuff. And yes, the waters do have properties in it which do heal wounds. As for the PTSD, naturally occurring lithium, thank you very much, in the water. So yeah, I bet it did help.
It has it all.
Right, it's medicinal. So yeah, so we left offerings at that shrine and got bottles of the water. We bottled water. I sanitized a bunch of my wine bottles and brought them, and you know, and then yeah, so you know, we did that because you know, Hygeia is, you know, like the Greek concept of health was a lot more holistic than we have. They saw things as like their concept of, and how we get the word hygiene is not just clean and neat and pure, but also that your mind was clean and neat as well and functioning.
All ties together.
Yeah. So yeah, I needed all of that. I think
all of that.
It
does seem like you went on kind of a, you know, a pilgrimage, really.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beautiful country. If you go to South Dakota, it does feel like you're in the part of something really bigger than you, and nature is kind of watching you the whole way.
Yeah,
so
it was amazing.
I'm so glad that you got to go. Now I want to go. It looks amazing.
Yes, absolutely.
Although I kind of want to go see the prairie dogs most, though, because they're so cute. Oh my God. They're sweet.
And they had their little babies.
Oh my God. They're like so tiny.
Little babies.
Little babies. Are you going to go back and see them again?
So we're looking at going this fall and hopefully meeting Justin and Mallory out there. That's my kid and his girlfriend, because it's just 5.5 hours for them.
Oh, so you guys can kind of meet halfway.
Right. And then we can go hiking, because we want to go on a lot of the hiking trails.
Oh, yeah.
But we need someone to carry our shit. And so the kids are young and fit, so they can carry our stuff.
I think this works out perfect for everyone. You're like, don't drop mama's wine. She's going to need that.
Yeah. Oh, honey, hold that picnic basket a little more level.
Yeah, you don't want the food sloshing around. I love it. Well, I think we need to move on. Thank you, Gareth. That is wonderful.
We do.
And we have a guest online, Jason Mankey, and I would like to bring Jason in right now. Yay! Here we go.
Hi.
Yay! Welcome. So good to see you.
I've just enjoyed listening to the two of you. I mean, I really have.
Thank you.
It's been fun for me.
Well, we are super excited to have you. So if you could tell us just a little bit about yourself.
Let's see. The truth or like fun lies?
Maybe a little both.
Either. I'm game for both. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm Jason. I write witchcraft books at this point in my life. Not where I thought I would go, but you know, here I am. And I've written 7 books. 5 have been published. The 6th will be out in September. And in addition to that, I run the pagan channel at Patheos, which is probably the largest religious spiritual website in the world. Yeah. Probably because Patheos is people crazy enough to have one, but you know, but that makes making it by default the biggest. But I have enjoyed my 5 or 6 years there, and the blonde dye, you know, hides the gray that it's given me. So that's really good. And I've been practicing Wiccan witchcraft. I don't know, like witch is like the word of the moment. Like in the 90s, everyone said Wicca.
Wicca.
Right.
Yes, because I think we were like respectability politics is how people say it now, I guess. You know, we didn't want to be associated with the word witch because of the negative connotations, but now witch is in. So I usually say I'm a Wiccan witch, a witch of the Wiccan persuasion.
Yeah, in fact, in the Twin Cities, there is a major networking group that is kind of a feminist professional women's group, and they refer to themselves as a coven.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
so their space
Well, I mean, the history of
is called a coven space.
the history of the word witch since really like the 1890s, it has been used as a word for women's self-empowerment. So
Yeah.
I think it's a word that can have all of these sort of different definitions, and people are smart and can figure out context. So you can have a witch group that's all professional women and then call themselves a coven, and that's great and it doesn't hurt anybody. And the 18 people that I know from various genders and they can all just jump into our ritual room and do a bunch of shit, and it's all good. We all know where it's coming from.
I love it.
Also, before we start, like I got here and I had like some water, and then I was watching the two of you, and I see the big glass, and then I saw the sad Miller Lite. That made me cry a little bit, but it made me like go out and get my own whiskey.
Because I felt bad about myself there.
Yes.
Cheers, man.
So could you explain a little bit? So most of the people that watch this are libertarians. So they're very familiar with the non-aggression principle, which is as long as what you're, well, I'll back up. I'm going to have you explain what the Wiccan Rede is first.
Yes.
What it is and just a little bit about it. And then we'll talk about how that is similar and how it is different from the non-aggression principle.
Yes.
All right. Well, the Wiccan Rede is sort of like our one commandment. And even then, it's a very wishy-washy commandment. So in the 1950s, witchcraft goes public for the first time. And this old English gentleman named Gerald Gardner writes about the kind of the rule of the witches. And he quotes an old English book, an old French book, where they kind of like this king in this book says, as long as you're nice to everybody, you should pretty much be able to do what you'd like. And by 1964, Wiccans had kind of codified that idea into a phrase, and it harm none, do what you will. And it was called the Wiccan Rede. Rede is an old word from Freemasonry, and it basically means advice or counsel. It doesn't mean law. It doesn't mean absolute. So It means advice or counsel. And at harm none, do what you will is the Wiccan Rede. So people interpret that in various ways. I think it was a PR move in the 60s more than anything else to really promote that, because people, when they hear the word witch, are often very scared of witches. That maybe not that they're going to turn you into a toad, but maybe that they're just going to do something that you find inappropriate or perhaps malevolent or something. So people started talking about the Wiccan Rede a lot, and it was good PR because it said, we believe in free love and we believe in letting people live as they want to live, as long as those actions don't hurt other individuals.
Right.
And then it gets printed in lots and lots of books. And at harm none, do what you will, the Wiccan Rede. And some people have taken it as this huge, absolute, super serious idea. I'm a vegetarian because, and at harm none, do what you will. I'm going to have tacos tonight. I'm not a vegetarian. So, I mean, people interpret it in various ways. But that's it in a nutshell. It probably kind of reached its peak in the 90s when Wicca was kind of in a boom period. And you had a lot of Wicca 101 books and people really interested in it. And now there's kind of a backlash against it in witch circles.
Why do you think there's a backlash, Jason?
There are a lot of people who like to be witchier than thou. So to be witchier than thou, I must cast a curse or a hex upon you, Heather. That is how I can be witchier than thou. So I think that's some of it.
You're witchier than me? That sounds sort of like a libertarian thing where they'd say,
you're not a real libertarian.
You're not a real witch. Same thing.
Well, I mean, and at harm none, do what you will, to me sounds like a very libertarian philosophy.
Oh yeah.
And I have long thought that. And so I always wondered how Wiccans and a lot of pagans have that as kind of their one main guiding ethic. and yet seem so opposed and hostile at times to libertarianism, which the non-aggression principle is really a restatement of the Wiccan Rede. It is, as long as I'm not harming anyone else, I should be able to do what I want. And conversely, I'm not going to use lies or force or trickery to make you do what I want you to do. I'm not going to engage in that. I'm not going to use force or violence or that kind of thing. And so, I always saw them as super compatible. Yet when I talk with other pagans or Wiccans, they, at times look at me like I'm nuts, and they're like, it's nothing like that. And I'm like,
It kind of is.
but it is.
I think my dream is to have a mixer where we get all the pagans and libertarians together and not tell them who's who, and then just let them figure it out. It may go well, it may not. Who knows?
One of the things about modern paganism that a lot of pagans don't really understand or realize is a very liberal group for the most part. I mean, I would say the politics of pagans are probably 90% towards the left, some very, very far towards the left. Makes Bernie Sanders look like, Republican, that kind of left. But the first people to practice Wicca were conservatives. Gerald Gardner was a member of the Conservative Party. It was not something that was being done by hippies. It was being done by middle-class English people in their parlors. It just happened to be naked,
Right.
But I mean, that's something that everyone kind of overlooks now in the history of witchcraft and Wicca.
Yeah. It had to come from somewhere.
Yeah. And I do find a lot of that history really interesting of, how things kind of changed over. And I also wonder if, so we had paganism over in the UK, but the paganism that came over into the US kind of diverged into these two areas. We had this ecofeminism area that it, branched off into. And then we had the more esoteric ceremonial magic area. And that was kind of the big divide. However, in both of those areas, in the beginning, both of those groups still, at least somewhat paid lip service to the Rede. That was supposed to be kind of one of the unifying things in early paganism.
I think how much lip service people paid to the Wiccan Rede depended on how they interpreted the Wiccan Rede. So, and it harm none, do what you will. So, there is, who is the nun and what is harm becomes the question. So if somebody is a rapist, am I supposed to do nothing because and it harm none?
Right.
I should be putting the good of all before this person. Or perhaps how I look at it is we get to decide who the nun are. And certain people void their membership into the nun because they're assholes. So they're no longer a part of the nun because they chose not to be a part of the nun.
Yeah, and we have that discussion too on the non-aggression principle, which is we're not pacifists, and we're not going to pretend that we are pacifists. So we do get to act in self-defense, either for ourselves or on behalf of someone else. But at what point do you consider that really self-defense? Does it have to be that you are actually shielding someone from a physical assault that's taking place right then? Or what does that mean to be able to defend yourself or someone else and still be within that non-aggression principle? And that sounds like the same ethical discussion of who is none, right? Who do you get to include in that? Don't harm anyone.
Right. Is it just yourself? Is it other people? I do believe that if someone is innocent, like a child, or, anyone that's being hurt, I feel like, yeah, as an adult human being, you should protect them no matter what. And some people would say, no, it's not hurting you. I'm like, no, I'm pretty much like, yeah, I will. I'll go to town on anyone who hurts a child. Sorry. But like, at what level, right? I mean, there's like, what extremes do things go to?
Well, and I think Jason alluded to it too in the discussion of, are you a vegetarian or not? On that harm none. What's included in that harm none, down to I know I have been in discussions with pagans, and they're down to how far do you go along that road? Do you become, I mean, do people still use this term, Jason, a bug sweeper?
A bug sweeper?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Where you're so
Like
you're so concerned that you will gently sweep the bugs so you don't
like
step
Jain
on one.
religion. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know any pagans who do that.
Yeah. I think it's meant to be as like the absurd argument, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you think about when witches are talking about and harm none, they're mostly talking about the practice of magic.
Mhm.
And there are things that you can do magically that don't really involve hurting someone so much as kind of neutralizing them. So
Right.
when Trump got elected, there was this movement to bind Trump. That was what it was called, to stop him from doing harm to others. It wasn't to hurt him, it was to stop him from doing harm.
Mhm.
And the idea is,
I mean, he still drinks bleach, so whatever, right?
Yeah. Not to stop him from harming himself, apparently.
Obviously not. Sorry, I went there.
No. We make those jokes at our house like all the time. Are you cleaning the kitchen, or are you preventing COVID-19? That's always the big question, right?
Who knows? Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
A shot of whiskey, a shot of bleach. But there are things that you can do to stop someone magically from doing something that other people would say does not violate harm none.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm of the opinion that if somebody's an asshole, there's probably some harm that is due.
Yeah. Everybody's got it coming sometime on some things, but the universe kind of works itself out, I think. But
that's another thing that kind of goes hand in hand with the Wiccan Rede. There's this idea in a lot of circles of the threefold law. And it's
a bastardization of karma, or
it's a completely wrong interpretation from what it originally was. So the idea in a lot of pagan circles now is if you do good to someone, that good will come back to you 3 times. When it was first articulated in the 50s, the idea was if somebody does good to you, you return that good 3 times. Not that there was some sort of karmic thing going on. That you were the one supplying the karma because you were thankful for what had happened to yourself.
Yeah, it was returning it or paying it forward or whatever, but not just a one-on-one. You were supposed to go above and beyond.
I like that.
And the idea was if every person did that, imagine how transformative that would be.
I love it. I think that's the way the world should be.
Amazing. It would be amazing.
Like, somebody's nice to you, do go above and beyond. Be super nice. Help them.
Instead, we chose this lazy idea of like cosmically will be rewarded.
Right. Yeah. Right? You don't have to actually put your energy into it. Don't worry, honey. It'll be taken care of. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah. We all know that really doesn't work. It doesn't. Not for me.
So how did that get lost?
Right.
I think it was probably lost in the late 60s, early 70s. I mean, that was a big time of transition for Wicca and witchcraft because all of a sudden all these new influences were coming into it. Like second wave feminism was a major influence in pagan and Wiccan circles. The hippie movement was a big influence in pagan and Wiccan circles at the same time. I mean, people today always call Wicca a nature religion. I think it's not really a nature religion. I think it became a nature religion when people became more earth aware during the
Yeah.
60s. And it
Yeah.
was something that was very compatible with that line of thinking. But this is the time when all these other ideas are coming in. If you ever pick up a paperback book from 1970, 1971 on witchcraft, it's about 97 different things. It's about Anton LaVey. It's
Yeah.
about witches who practice something like Wicca. It's also about people who talk to dolphins and UFOs. I mean, it's like about all kinds of crazy shit. And in the late 60s and early 70s, there was really this impulse to import a lot of things from Eastern societies, especially from India, and
Yes.
kind of that westernized idea of karma. And I think that's kind of where this new threefold law came into being, was during that particular period. And then somebody publishes it in a book, and then it's just repeated ad nauseum over and over and
Right.
over
Because
again.
now you reference that book.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. People do this circular referencing. Yeah.
Yeah, you see that a lot with all kinds of things in kind of pagan history, especially. Somebody references it once with no source, and then that's the
Oh,
source everyone else uses.
ah, that
Yes.
is the
Yeah.
bane of my existence. And I've had arguments with people like, where your source that you referred to it wrong. So you are referring to something that is wrong, and then they are referring to you, and they are more wrong because it grows like telephone game. So
I think it would be kind of amazing if we started introducing into libertarian culture that original idea of the threefold law.
I like that
That
idea.
would be, even of course, like our wider culture, I think that would be incredible. But if that were something that, because we do have a fair number of pagans who are libertarians, there is a definite crossover. When I worked in the Gary Johnson campaign in the last presidential election, 2016, there were 5 state chairs of his campaign that were pagans. So they were in charge of his campaign in their state, and they were pagans. And I thought, that's probably unusual, because I don't think that even Green Party would have that. I know for a fact, like, Republicans and Democrats would not have had that many, state chairs of their campaigns be pagans. And it's one of those things where when we're in the Libertarian Party and we mention we're pagan, for the most part, people are like,
Mhm.
I
Really?
don't find that a relevant data point, but okay.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of political people are also not very religious. I don't know. They have a focus. I mean, they're either very religious, and that's the whole purpose of what they do, is to put forward an agenda, or
Go to a GOP event.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, at the libertarian events I've gone to, there's a lot of atheists. So I mean, but the cool thing with the atheists is most of the time they're not, like, they don't give a crap. They just don't give a crap about any of it. But as long as they're not mocking people, then I don't really care either.
They have the same response if you said, my favorite color is yellow. And they'd be like,
Oh, good. What ifs?
okay. Thank you for sharing, but
My favorite color is depression black. Yeah.
that should be the Pantone 2020 color, depression black.
God, yes.
Sorry to go on that tangent, but
you are so right. I think, how every year they come up with the color. It was like peach last year. I don't know what it is this year.
it should be depression black.
It should be a gray at least.
COVID-19 depression black, Pantone color of the year.
Yes, it's very goth. I think we all have turned into goths. But anyway, I digress.
It could be very pale because we're all just staying inside.
Yeah. Honestly, it's a really great year to be a goth. I mean, it'd be easy. I should dye my hair black. Then maybe it'll be lower maintenance. I don't know. And then I can get a raven to keep my cats entertained. And
Raven would eat my cats.
Yeah, I know they would. My cats are really wimpy, so they would.
I think it kind of is the year of a cat too, because
Is it?
I know when I'm on Zoom meetings, my cat
Oh,
is front and center,
I'm
and
surprised.
my kitty is not the only kitty. Like, we're all getting to know each other's pets.
That's the truth. I think it's a kind of a beautiful part of it, though, because after a while you get tired of humans, so you're like, "Ooh, cat butt, sweet." I don't know why that would be the thing I'd notice, but yes.
So we do something on our show, and we wind up our show, and it's called One Awesome Thing. And so we ask viewers if they want to, they can put in comments of what their one awesome thing is. If they want to share that with us, you know, there's no pressure. You don't have to. But we also say what, you know, one awesome thing happened to us in the previous week. And some weeks it's a little more of a struggle than others, to come
Lately,
up
it's
with
more.
something. Uh, but you know, it's something that we want to share and have that focus on, you know, that there's still good things. Like, you can still find joy, you can still find good things in your life. And if you're struggling and you're having a really hard time finding something in your life, sometimes just hearing about the good things that are happening in other people's lives, like, you know, that you're like, okay, you know what? Yes, there are good things. I can get through this week. We'll see what next week brings. You know, we're gonna hang in there. So, do you want to go, Heather, or do you want me to go first, or how do you want to do it?
Well, I was just thinking, this week it's been a really weird week. I started doing guided meditations on Monday, and it's been so amazing for me. And I totally think that like if you're feeling, I mean, everybody's down, right? Everybody's feeling like they're dragging ass. I feel like I can't hardly focus on books lately. I try to read and then I'm like, meh. But the guided meditations have been like my every time I get done, my like brain is on fire and I feel like I'm ready to do things and excited again. It has been so good. So I don't know if like anybody else is doing this stuff, but if you have ones that you're doing, send them to me because I'm like trying everything out now. I'm like, wow, I can do this. It makes me want to write again. You know, I mean, things that I've been putting off, I'm like, I'm gonna do it now. And I've been like exercising. I like exercised all freaking day. But yeah, I see Kay like F this
Oh,
week. Oh, I know. I'm sorry, Kay, F this week, but you know, it makes me forget about the
pop her
libertarian
comment up.
infighting. I'm gonna put it up because it makes me sad, but at the same time. Um, no joy, other people's happiness makes me jealous and bitter. Oy vey!
I can
Oh,
understand that.
Kay,
I've
I
been there.
feel you. But I feel like at least like I can do something about it. I don't know. And once we get through this next week, it'll, you know, I feel like you get through this week, then the next week is something new to think about. But I'm doing things in my garden and my clematises are starting to grow. So there you go. It's a
I think
great week.
you can take penicillin for that, Heather.
Clematis? No, it's not a sexually transmitted disease. It's a flower.
Sounds itchy.
It, yeah, don't look at clematis. I mean,
Is it
who
an
knows?
okay flower? Or, you know,
Oh, and my allergies. Blah. Don't get me started. I've been outside all day and I was like, I was amazed. Like I was tearing up all day. And then I suddenly, 2 minutes before the show started, I stopped crying. So it's amazing. You'd be like, why is Heather crying?
the whole damn show.
The world is effed. No, it's good. Anyway, Kara, how about you?
So, I mean, my one awesome thing is, yes, the trip I got to go on through South Dakota, and just everything beautiful and amazing that I saw. And, you know, like we drove up into well, it's a hill, it's not a mountain, but it's a mountain to me. And we were up so high, and it was kind of drizzly, and the clouds were so low that we were standing in a cloud. Like, we were standing in a cloud, and I held my husband's hand, and we were standing in a cloud. And all the beautiful things I saw, and it wasn't just that I saw all these beautiful things, it's that I saw all these beautiful, incredible, breathtaking things while holding my husband's hand.
Yeah.
That can't ever get old.
Oh, I'm so glad. That's beautiful. Jason, do you have any awesome things for this week?
So like you, I garden.
Yay!
And I haven't really started gardening yet this year. I've just been pulling weeds mostly, but I grew sunflowers last year, 14 feet tall, and some, gigantic sunflowers.
Wow.
And I already have several this year, thanks to the squirrels. And I got my first
Volunteers.
sunflower bloom just 2 days ago.
Yay!
So it's very, very early, but it was just a really nice, here comes the sun sort of moment.
Yes.
Made me feel good. Yeah.
Absolutely. That is pretty awesome.
Now I get to watch it die the rest of the summer. But I had that moment.
You had the moment.
You know,
Right?
we had our moment.
You know, I always feel like that. It's like, this is the most beautiful it'll be when I see my flowers open. I go, right now, this is it. And then like from here on out, it's going downhill. But I'm like in that moment where it's perfection, you're just like, wow.
But I'll have many more to look forward to though as the summer goes. And it's California. Our summer lasts until Halloween. So it's, it's a very long summer.
Yeah, we have like a 3-minute summer. It lasts very short. Plus this year, somebody told me is supposed to be some sort of blizzard in the middle of summer. No, I know. I'm like, what does that mean? So I'm not gonna pretend that it doesn't exist. I'm like,
no blizzard.
Nope. I don't want it. So yay! I love all this light.
Is pretty awesome. Yeah. Oh, and my son got me 3 Japanese wasabi plants.
Oh, we can torture Andy with those.
So that, exactly. So that green paste we usually have, that's not wasabi. That's tinted horseradish.
Horseradish, which I like a lot.
This is real wasabi, and so it is temperamental and hard to grow, and I'll pretty much have to do it in a pot because inside, because it's so temperamental on moisture and temperature, and it can't have sun touch its little leaves. I know. And
is this a good gift then? Wait,
it takes 2 years. It takes.
Is this a good gift or a bad gift then? Because you have to babysit it forever.
I do. I have to, and I don't have the greenest thumb, so this is going to be very challenging for me.
You are just fine. You've always had beautiful plants, so I think it'll be. Just don't forget about them in the winter.
Yeah, or let Mabel pee on them or something. I don't know.
Your cat. Oh.
Fertilizer.
Yeah, we'll
see.
see.
Or she thinks she wants to kill it because it's taking up her space. Because she is queen.
We'll see. Well, thank you so much, Jason, for joining us. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you for having me. This was really fun.
I loved it.
It's good to see you both too.
Yay!
I know.
Because it's been a little while.
It has. It's been a few conventions.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of the last
convention. I was supposed to go to Mystic South and that got canceled. Everything I go to is canceled. So I'm like hoping next year we can see everybody again.
Well, if Paganicon happens, I'm probably just going to go because I probably won't be able to go anywhere else.
Please come to Paganicon.
Yes. Come to Paganicon.
So
we will have a good time.
Yeah,
it is a good time. And if anybody who's interested in, pagan stuff, learning more, everyone's really nice and very helpful. And I remember the first time Kara and I went to pagan things in Minnesota, the people here are so nice and welcoming, and we never looked back. Yep. So I think you will love it, and we'll probably kidnap you and you'll live in Minnesota forever then. Maybe not, but we always try.
It's too cold. Oh God, I'm never going back to that. I lived in Michigan for years. I'm never going back.
You know.
That's the escape.
Yep, I'm too weak now. Soft. California's soft.
I may want to be California soft someday too, because the winter's here. Oh, thank you so much for coming to the show.
That was really fun. Thank you both.
You bet.
Yes. Well, Kara, have a great rest of the night.
You too.
I'll see you this weekend probably and for
Hell
the
yes.
Libertarian Convention. So we will have a
Yes.
great time.
Absolutely.
So see you
Bye.
guys. Bye-bye.